Hello. So, we're taking a long old journey. We're going to Birmingham. It's about a 4-hour drive for me. So we're going to collect a wing and a bumper to get it sorted nice and soon, because I don't like sitting around and waiting, very impatient. So we're going to take that long old drive up to Birmingham to get these parts to fix the Lexus. And I'll check back in with you when we're there. Alright, so after long drive and lots of traffic, M25, absolute hell, I've got the bumper and the wing just in the back. Bit tatty, gonna need a respray. I didn't realise though, it's actually black already. And the wing is black, so hopefully those bits can go on, not a problem. Let's just get on the long drive home and then hopefully get these bits on. So it's the next morning, just jumping into the car now because we didn't bother unpacking anything yesterday because we got back very late. We got the bumper and the wing in there, just going to get it outside the car to get a good look. But just looking at the bumper now, I didn't actually realise it is a black bumper. I thought it was grey from the pictures, so it gives us a lot better base to paint off of, but as you can see it's got a fair bit of damage, so it will need respraying as well. But we have got one more problem to solve in between putting these parts on. Today we're back in the BMW after our long trip to Birmingham to collect parts. Just popping our ignition on now. The reason we're jumping in this car today is because we had this lovely little warning message come up when we were on our drive to Birmingham, which after a quick Google search found out this is a brake pad warning. So we're going to do some general maintenance today to replace those discs and pads on the front. So watch along with me and I hope you enjoy. We're just going to start by getting the car jacked up, get the wheels off. One important thing is the locking wheel nut key. You won't get very far without that, unfortunately. So we're just going to get the jack underneath the jacking block on the car, just there. Then we're going to pump it up slightly, but we're not going to put it up all the way yet, as we want to crack these wheels off. And the front wheels will just spin round and round if they're in the air. So we're going to crack those off first, and then we're going to put the car up all the way, and then we're going to get our gun, spin that wheel off. But we are going to need a bit of a hammer because those wheels are a bit seized on. So just got the wheel off. I'm just going to bring you guys over so you can see what we're sort of dealing with. So these calipers are single piston floating calipers. They move on sliders. So we've got a bolt at the top, bolt at the bottom to remove the caliper, and then also a bolt for the carrier as well that we'll need to take off to get the disc off. So it's just a 15mm spanner to hold the bolt just behind, and a 13mm just to spin off the one on that holding those sliders on as well. A little trick we can use on these is we can just take out one of the bolts and move the caliper up and round and then hit it off, so we don't have to take out one of those bolts. We're just going to get to that carrier, which are two 17 or 18mm bolts. They're usually done up very tight, and they normally full of a lot of Loctite as well, so they take a bit of a minute to come off. We do eventually get those off as well. Now that we got that carrier off, now we can remove that disc. So we've got just a Allen key socket or a hex socket that we are just going to gun off. Again, be careful with these, sometimes they do snap, so it's good to be careful. Give it a good old hit with a hammer, comes right off, and then we're ready for our next bits. But first we are going to give the caliper carriers a bit of a clean off. So they've got these little metal clips that the pads will sit into. So we'll remove those, give them a clean with a wire wheel or a wire brush if you have one, just to make sure those new silver clips sit in nicely and they don't cause any issue when we go to try and fit our pads in as well. So we'll pop those in, and then we'll be ready to come back to the car and start bolting it all back together. We've got our carrier now, we've got our new disc. Gonna give everything a bit of a clean up just with some brake cleaner as well, and then we'll be ready to pop this disc on, and then just bolt in the little locating screw to hold the disc on as well as push that piston back in the caliper so we can get the pads in. Now that it's got new pads, they're obviously going to be a bit thicker, so you need to push that piston all the way back to fit those new pads in. We've got the disc on and located with the little screw, and then we're popping the caliper carrier back on as well, which our pads are going to sit in. We're just going to bolt that in. Again, these do need to be done up quite tight, so make sure you do that with these ones. We're just getting the new pads out of the packaging now, and just comparing them to the old ones as well, to make sure they don't sort of have any backing plates that we need to transfer over. Make sure we get the sides right, inside and outside as well. So it's something to just be aware of. Always sit them next to the new ones to make sure they are the same and they go back in as they should do. We've already greased up these pads as well, so they're going to slide nicely in their sort of shims on the carrier. And again, it's just a case of sort of pushing them in, and we'll see in a second exactly how that looks when they're sitting in the shims as well. So as you can see, the inner pad is slightly different because it's made for a pad wear sensor. You've always got that one on the inside, and make sure your pad materials again against the disc is always good. So now all that we have left to do is just pop that caliper on. So we're just going to put the sliding pin straight back in because we didn't take out that top bolt. And then it's just one bolt for the bottom, which we do have new ones for. So you always get two new ones, so my idea is that you're only ever meant to take one bolt out instead of taking the two bolts out, because they are Loctited as well. So we're just going to pop that in the bottom, again just holding it with a 15mm spanner on the inside nut so it doesn't spin round, and then a 13mm, and then we're going to pop this wheel back on. Again, it's always good to torque things up and make sure they are done up to the correct spec as well, just so you don't have any issues. So we're just going to pop the bolts back in for the wheel, tighten it down, and then we're all done for this side. Alright, so we're just going to repeat the same sort of steps on the passenger side of the vehicle now, starting by getting the wheel off, of course. And then we are going to first remove the pad wear sensor, as it's only on the passenger side of the front of the vehicle. So we're just going to remove that all out of the way, and I will show you clearly exactly how that sits in when we go to putting the new one back in as well. And then we're going to just move that caliper out of the way, push the piston back as well to make sure we're ready for the new pads that we pop in. And it's always a good idea to remove your brake fluid cap, as pushing the piston back is going to force that fluid back up to the top. We're just going to drain it slightest amount out to make sure it doesn't spill over everywhere, and then just pop our cap back on, give it a clean up, and then we'll be ready to continue. So we're following all the same steps as before. Now that we've got the caliper out, we're just popping those pads out. Then we'll start with the carrier bolts that we'll need to get off as well, which again are done up very tightly. So we're just going to try our best to get those off as easy as we can, and then we'll shortly move over to getting the disc off as well, which is just the one locating screw for the disc, and then just give it a good old hit with a hammer. We're not going to be reusing them, we are replacing them, so it's fine. Just pop that new one back on, locate and screw back in, give things a bit of a clean off again. We'll give that a good spray off with some brake cleaner before we give it clean with a wire wheel as well, and then put our new shims in. And I have already greased these shims and pads to make sure they obviously slide nicely as well. Now that we got sort of everything bolted back on, the last thing I've done is just route the pad wear sensor, which is just in that little box at the top. They just pull out, unplug, and then you can route it in the exact same place it went before. So it sort of does there's a little way round just behind the shock, and then pops into the end of the pad as well. Now we're all done, we've tightened the wheel back up, just a case of jumping in the car, pump that brake pedal just to make sure the pads engage properly before you start going driving, and then just a test drive to bed in those brakes, and it's all done. Just wanted to say thank you very much again for watching. There's a bit of a change of pace today, but please be sure to check in next time where we will be getting all these parts on the bumper and the wing and things as well. We're going to have it almost all together. If you did like what you see, please give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.